I want to thank people coming by and listen to my rattlesnake story. How I got bit by a deadly rattlesnake. And I want to say deadly because some people have died from it. And I just want to tell you how it felt and what happened. I get up early in the morning and do the gardening, and snakes they're cool early in the morning and they just lay there. They don't move, they don't rattle. So I decided to pluck some leaves off of a Swiss chard. It was a big Swiss chard, and I put my garden chair, I got it and sat down, and I was walking all around that Swiss chard, and so I started plucking off the leaves, and I was sitting there, and I got close to that rattlesnake. It never did rattle, and it grabbed me. So I jumped up in the air, and the darn thing stuck on my finger. And I flipped him off. He was right in there between my fingers, and I flipped him off like that. Fell back because of my chair, and you know who come real quick? So I was laying there twisting around trying to get up, and that rattlesnake was right there. So Ben, he runs in there real quick. I don't know if he seen me. Maybe the snake rattled because I don't remember. But he was right there in that snake's face, barking and barking. And so I got up, and I didn't have nothing to kill that snake, but my hand started hurting. And so I just come on in the house, and Ben, he stayed out there barking. But what happened, we did not find it for a couple of days. It went through the chicken wire fence, and it was gone. It got away from Ben, and I think it went to a chicken pen. But I wasn't concerned about that. Bill wasn't home, so I called him and, let him know I got bit by a rattlesnake. And the time I got to the house, just to call him, my hand was really hurting real bad. It was going numb, but even though numb, it was still hurting. And so I got my rattlesnake kit. It's a real good one. It's a suction cup, and it's got different cups on it. But to get that venom out, and I couldn't do it because it was in between my fingers, and I couldn't reach it, and my hand was going numb. So anyway, I got to the hospital, and we parked right by the helicopter, the emergency helicopter, and I was looking at that thing because I walked right by it, and I thought, boy, I hate to ride in that because to me all it looked like a big chunk of metal. I thought, wow. So the hospital close by, they always say if you get bit by a rattlesnake, go there and you'll die. And that's where we went. I thought, oh. But anyway, so they gave me something, maybe anti-venom stuff, but so my hand was super hurting, very painful, and my hand was starting to swell, my arm's starting to swell. So whatever they give me, and this is terrible, but I was feeling very sick from it. And on my left, there was people standing over here, and Bill and whoever. And man, I need a bucket, because I was getting ready to throw up. That whatever they was giving me just made me sick. and I couldn't throw up that way. And there was a chair over here, and I went, right on that chair. I couldn't help it. And the nurse aide that was helping me, or nurse, um, so she was sitting down looking at me on the other side, and I told her, I said, well, can you get me something, or a wet wash rag? Okay. I thought, well, how come you're not getting up doing something? So I felt better after throwing up. They was pumping some kind of fluid in me. And I felt so sorry for this guy. He come to clean up my throw up. And it was on that chair, and he was wiping up. And I apologized to him, and he wasn't very happy about it. I thought, now why did he put a chair right there? But anyway, I felt bad. He was very unhappy about it. And I don't know if that hospital, what they was thinking, but anyway, they decided to take me to another hospital our way, that I would do better there, because they know better what to do. So they told me, well, we can take you in an emergency helicopter. And after I looked at a helicopter out there, I walked right by it. I thought, no, I don't want to be in that helicopter. I'd rather, be in a car or something. So they loaded me up in an ambulance, and off I went. It was an hour away, but I just didn't want to ride that helicopter. So my arm was just hurting galore. It just terrible. And these two women, the ambulance drivers, I think on the highway, I think they hit every bump there. And any jarring on my arm, oh my gosh, it was very painful. And every time they hit a bump, the driver would go, sorry. I thought, oh, and then a little bit, sorry. Oh, man, it was so hurtful. So, a rattlesnake bite is extremely painful. And so we got to the hospital, and I was quite out of it. They drugged me, I guess, so it wouldn't hurt so bad. But I could still feel the hurt. And so I stayed in the emergency area for about 4 days. My arm was all swelled up. And what they do, from my wrist on up, they would come in and make a black line with a magic marker, and they would watch the swelling go up your arm. And they keep making lines to see how fast it's swelling up. And this nurse, older nurse, she come in, and she said, oh, well, that's too bad. And she patted my arm. And I just about jumped out of the bed. Oh, it hurt so bad. But she didn't realize it. She was feeling sorry for me. But she took off. Right, anyway. So, the first night, Bill slept in a recliner chair at the hospital. And stayed with me. And I felt so good having him there. But the next days, I wanted him to stay home because the animals need him home. They don't know what it is to be without us. So he did, and he'd come visit, but at night time he would stay home. So I finally got put into another room, and they were still giving me anti-venom stuff. And I was doing good, but the hurt was still hurting real bad. That hurt, it never did relieve. It was the same from the time I left my house and time I left the hospital. That hurt was still the same. And they was giving me every kind of drug there was to try to calm that down, and it wouldn't calm down. So when we left the hospital, they give me a sling for my arm. So I would, if I held my arm down, oh, it was very painful. But in that sling, it felt better. So I got home and I couldn't sleep at night. I had to sleep in the recliner. And I slept in the recliner for a long time because I just couldn't lay down. The blood pressure in my arm, I had to keep it on a pillow. But anyway, so the hurt lasts for months. And Bill, he took care of everything in the world. He did dishes, mop, vacuum. He did all my chores. He waited on me hand and foot. And he never made me feel bad, about I need to do anything. He just took real good care of me. Well, after months, then the years started rolling around and I was still hurt. The rattlesnake really did damage to me. And I'm a wood carver, and I couldn't carve for 4 years. I couldn't bend my hand down, to hold a knife. And even like making ice trays up, cutting my food, Bill would do it for me because I just didn't have my hand was like this, froze in time. I couldn't move it or nothing. It was just froze. So, he took care of me for years of, cutting my food up for me, just doing things. So, after 4 years, I finally could do this. I could finally hold something, and I was so glad. And I could carve again. My hands were kind of like this, but I could, hang on to the knife. Oh, that was wonderful. It's like if you're trying to paint, but you can't hang on to the paintbrush. And I couldn't paint with carve with my other hand because my other hand doesn't carve wood. It holds wood. So, anyway, after 4 years, I can start carving. But my hand is still numb and it still hurts. And I do take medicine off and on, which I don't like to. I don't like have medicine in me. But if I do a lot of gardening, sometimes if I hit the carving hard and hold the knife for a long time, then my hand really starts aching again. And, me and Bill, we talked about I might not be going full blast at carving like I used to, but I can still at least carve, and that means a whole lot to me. So I just want to talk about it, that getting bit by a diamondback rattlesnake is terrible and very painful. And I just want to say that in my hand, it kind of got my hand misshaped. So now this little finger goes out and this finger goes in, and now I can be like Spock and how he talks. What was that? May the force be with you. No, that's the other story. But anyway, I can go. May the garden grow. Give you an out west homestead sign. But I don't know what happened right here. It made a knuckle swell up, and I can't bend that finger. But the rest of the fingers I can bend, and this one don't work too good. But at least I can carve. So it did do damage, and I think I'll always hurt the rest of my life because it hasn't let up. It's a mild hurt unless I work it hard. But so anybody around rattlesnakes, please be careful. Because sometimes, especially in the morning when they're cool, they won't rattle. They'll just lay there curled up. But I just want to tell you about my story. And I appreciate y'all coming by and listening. Talk to you later from out west Homestead. Bye. Yeah, now I remember what Spock said. He goes, may you prosper. Now, at the end of my show I can go, may your garden prosper. The Out West Homestead sign. But anyway, bye.